Yeah, exactly. That's why I thought I'd, toot my own
It's an
horn.
inside joke.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
very good. Week been right?
Yes.
You had to think about that one, didn't you?
Couldn't remember what I did, but yeah, just school. Just school.
So you did a trip by yourself this week, did you?
Yeah, I went into Bimble Hut. I've realised how important it is for me to.
G'day everyone. So there'll be plenty of time after to finish off those conversations. So so my name is Matteus, and I've been asked to share a little bit around how I've seen God moving in my life and how He's been speaking to me recently. So for that, I've got a little story that then will tie into some scripture and end with an encouragement and a question. So so to start off with the story part. So in November last year, I didn't have a car, and I wanted to buy myself a nice car. Now, if you know me, you'll know that I really wanted to get a German car, but I decided against this due to everyone in my life telling me that. But I still spent a good amount of money on a nice 2010 Honda Civic and had a lot of fun with that. I drove it up to Marlborough Sounds and back and had plenty of fun along the way. But as the university year kicked off, I decided I won't be driving it as much. I want to save a bit of money, so I'm going to switch from comprehensive insurance to third party. Now, if you don't know, comprehensive will cover you so that if you crash into anyone, not only is the other person covered, but your own car will be covered. And third party will just mean the other person's covered. Now, to change this, for some reason, it took me a week to change it, where I was even paying for both services for a few days. But finally, on a Tuesday evening, I decided to cancel it, and as of immediately, switched to third party. 11 hours later, on Wednesday morning, I'm driving down Blenheim Road on the way back from the gym, and I rear-end the car in front of me. In a bit of shock, I hop out, check the other person's okay, to which they are, exchange our details, and we go on our separate ways. As I'm driving back to my flat, a million thoughts are flooding through my mind, and namely the question of, did I just ruin my most valuable possession? Because while the damage wasn't awful, if there was anything structural, it could be thousands of dollars to fix. And also, if this had happened quite literally any other day, that wouldn't have mattered. Very frustrating. Also, a real win for the insurance companies, but that's all right. So when I get home, of course, I call my dad first thing, and in doing so, I'm explaining the frustrations, namely the financial element of it. And then it hits me pretty clearly how often throughout Scripture we're told to only focus on God and not to put our minds on earthly treasures. It was later on I was reading Matthew 6:19 through 21, where Jesus says, "Do not store up your treasures on earth, where moths and vermin destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moths and vermin do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal." And then Jesus goes on to say in Matthew 6:24 that you cannot serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money. The concept of the danger of money is very frequent throughout Scripture. And personally, I find it one of the most challenging principles to adapt into my life. To love only God and not the world. Jesus offers us no alternative. As followers of Christ, we know that we need to follow Jesus and reject everything else. reading on from Matthew 6:24, Jesus tells us not to worry. And it was actually in our first week of Seek His Kingdom where Phil spoke on this passage. Going on to Matthew 6:33, Jesus tells us to seek His kingdom first. Now, these two passages, in my mind, go together seamlessly. So much so that if you combine them and rephrase them, you can get for yourself, do not store up earthly treasures, but seek His kingdom first. And do not worry, but store up treasures in heaven. So my story with my car allowed me to reflect that I probably loved it a little bit too much. And it's so easy to have too much love for any possession or any relationship. And I found when reading both the treasures passage and then the passage about worrying together, it made any attempt of stress or anxiety minimize from them. So I feel like we all have something that we naturally will prioritize more than we should. In my ever so humbling experience with my car, I found that yes, it's frustrating. Yes, things will come up to distract us. Yes, that's terrible timing with the insurance. And yes, I shouldn't take away from the fact that I should drive a little bit safer. But everything there seems so irrelevant compared to what will happen when we seek God's kingdom first. So as you go into the week, I challenge you to think about, what are you loving more than you should? Mine was my car. What would yours be? I'm going to hand over to Dave.